Essential News. Today we'll explore in depth freedom of speech. I'm Seb, your host for today. Joining me are three guests with distinct point of views on this vital topic. We have Baptiste, a strong believer in absolute speech. Welcome, Baptiste.
Thanks, Seb. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. We had some technical issues, so I won't have my camera today. I'm really sorry, guys, but I beg you to accept my apologies.
No problem, Baptiste. Next, we have Erwan, who has experienced the negative impacts of freedom of speech. Welcome, Erwan.
Thank you, Sebastian. I really appreciate the opportunity to share to everyone my point of view.
And finally, we have Arthur, who believes in a more controlled approach to speech. Welcome, Arthur.
I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Today, we'll talk about various subjects related to freedom of speech and its limitations, exploring real and actual examples and different perspectives. Let's start off this podcast with a fundamental question. What does freedom of speech mean to you?
For me, it's quite a hard question, but I would, for me, it says freedom of speech is a cornerstone of a free society. It means being able to express any opinion, no matter how controversial, without fear of censorship or punishment. It's essential for democracy and the pursuit of truth.
So, I understand the value of the free speech, but I've also seen its dark side. When people use this freedom to spread lies or hate, it can cause real harm. I believe we need to find like a balance to protect individuals from such abuse.
That speech can be very powerful and potentially harmful. Without strong regulation, harmful ideologies and false information can spread unchecked. So I think speech should be controlled to maintain social harmony and protect vulnerable communities.
Great points. Now let's talk about actual real-world examples, where freedom of speech has been tested and pushed to its limits. Baptiste, can you share an example where you think limitations on speech went too far?
Yeah, sure. One example is a case of Charlie Hebdo attacks in France. In response to sarcastic magazine and publications of cartoon mocking the Prophet Muhammad, there were calls for limiting such expressions to avoid offending religious sensibilities. While the violent response was aberrant, the pressure to curb such satire represented dangerous trends towards self-censorship out of fear.
Erwan, after hearing what Baptiste just said, what's your take on that example?
So I agreed that the violence response was wrong. However, I also believe that we should consider the impact of our words. I also think satire and free expression are really important. They shouldn't come at the cost of provoking violence or deep offense. We also need to be more mindful of the potential consequences that our words get.
And finally, Arthur, what's your perspective on this subject?
I believe that such publication should be strictly controlled. Freedom of speech should not be an excuse to spread offensive or harmful material. We need strong regulations to prevent such incidents and promote a respectful and inclusive society.
Let's explore another example. Erwan, can you talk about a situation where you were personally affected by the negative Pardon.
Vas-y, Seb, arrête de parler, reconcentre-toi
Ouais,
sur le
refais.
sauvetage.
Attends, moi aussi. Attends, dessus, je puff un peu.
Non, mais wesh, les gars, moi j'ai pas de tout. Enfin, ouais,
non,
voilà.
mais... ouais, c'est vrai.
Mesquine.
Okay. Let's explore another example. Erwan, can you talk about a situation where you were personally affected by negative aspects of free speech?
Sure. I was the target of a coordinated online harassment campaign. It starts with a few individuals spreading false information about me, which quickly escalated into a torrent of abuse and threats. The experience was traumatizing and showed me how unchecked free speech can be weaponized against individuals.
So, Baptiste, how do you respond to that?
I'm truly sorry that you had to go through that, Erwan. While I believe in absolute freedom of speech, I also think platforms need to do a better job at moderating harmful behavior without transgressing on free expression. It's kind of challenging balance to strike, honestly.
Yeah, I get it. Arthur, what are your thoughts on this question?
Exactly why I advocate for strong regulation. People need to be protected from such abuse. Social media platform and government should have stricter control to prevent harassment and ensure the speech does not cause harm.
It's clear that this subject is a complex issue with no easy answers. I think it's important that we touch on the role of social media. Baptiste, how do you view the role of social media platforms like X, TikTok, or Instagram in moderating speech?
Well, that's a good question. Social media should be a platform for free expression. While they can have guidelines, they should avoid heavy-handed censorship. Users should be responsible for the content they post, and platforms should focus on facilitating open dialogues. If you see where I'm going.
Yeah, I get it, I get it. Erwan, what do you think about what Baptiste just said and about social media?
So I think that social media platforms have a huge influence on public discourse. They need to take more responsibility for the content shared on their sites. Implementing better moderation tools and policies can help protect users from harassment and misinformation, I think.
Indeed, it's very important. And what about you, Arthur? Do you think social media platforms should be regulated?
I think social media should be strictly regulated. This platform have enormous influence and without control they can become breeding grounds for harmful content. Strong oversight is necessary to ensure that the information shared is accurate and not harmful.
Thank you, Arthur, Baptiste, and Erwan, for your very different yet very interesting perspectives. It's evident that freedom of speech is a nuanced and complex issue with significant implications for society. Do you have any final thoughts?
On a last note, I would like to say that freedom of speech is fundamental, and we must guard it jealously and at all cost not restrict it. It's a very important and fundamental notion that we have in our world.
In conclusion, I think we need to find a balance that protects free expression while also protecting individuals from harm.
I think strong regulations are essential to maintain social order and to protect vulnerable groups from harm.
I think everyone, as well as me, understand your different point of views. So thanks again, Baptiste, Erwan, and Archer, for joining these discussions. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to the Essential Podcast. See you soon and have a good week.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you.